Yo, what is going on, friends, fans, and subscribers? This is Alvin Palantir, and today we are going to discuss JoJos, because I know I have not really discussed JoJos much on my channel at all. I'm actually a fucking huge JoJos fan, okay? I've been watching it. I actually forget the exact year I started it, but I started part one when it was only part one that was out. The new 2012 version, of course. But that's sort of, so it had to be sometime 2013, 2014. Saw part one, and I was a huge fucking fan. Instantly, it came across to me as kind of like a weird series, you know, very eccentric artwork, very interesting characters, interesting plot. And I think the thing that people actually like the most about JoJo's, or at least the thing I like the most, is just how fucking crazy everything is. Like, and everything in this story is honestly crazy, and it's not typical. You know how like in a normal show, you're kind of waiting for like a plot twist, you know, something that you don't expect to happen. In JoJo's, weird ass shit is just happening. You know, the dialogue is just fucking weird. People are saying shit, you're like, what the? Like, I swear, when watching JoJo's, you really cannot, like, no dialogue scene is a normal dialogue scene. There's always someone saying something insane, saying something like just funny as fuck, or just like trolling the shit out of somebody. And that, I think that's like one of the best elements JoJo has. It's just so unpredictable, you know, whether for good or for bad, you know, because I know a lot of people don't like it because of that, you know, and that's cool too. But I think the fact that it's just so unpredictable in literally every fucking aspect is just insane. So let's go over now some of the parts, right? We're just going to go over the parts sort of in order. So part one, I really enjoyed part one. I guess if I were to give my rating of the parts I've seen in order, so I've seen, right now, 4 is airing, so I haven't seen the whole 4. And okay, let me touch on this really fast. I don't want to read the JoJo's manga for people who read the manga and say it's good. I have an issue sometimes with reading a manga of an anime that I know the anime is going to be at least more enjoyable for me than the manga. And JoJo's really seems like one of those types of series just because of the scans. Some of the scans are just fucked up. And even if when you do find proper scans, I don't know, there's something about JoJo's, I really do prefer the anime. I think the anime is a lot better than the manga. That's just a personal opinion, though. I know a lot of people will disagree. Anyways, back to the parts in order. So I would order part 2 as my favorite part. Fucking amazing. I love part 2. We're not going to get into it yet, but part 2 on top, and then I would probably put part 4, and then part 1, and then at last part 3. I fucking hated part 3 in a way. I loved it. Don't get me wrong, I loved it. Still gave it a high rating, but I disliked it one of the other parts, and we're going to get to that. And get to why that is. But part 1, absolutely loved it. I thought that the start of it, the first episode, was fucking amazing. I love how the first episode of JoJo's, it just really gives you a full and entire story in the first episode. It's not one of those series where you're guessing, like, you know, well, you are kind of guessing where it's going because the whole series is just fucking crazy. But even if you just watch the first episode, you get the whole backstory with Dio, what happened to Dio's dad and his family, how Dio went to live with the Joestars. You get all of that. You get them growing up together. You get all of that shit. Dio, you get to see how much of a dick he is. You pretty much get I would say a very satisfying first episode of this series. And thinking back on like all the anime that I've watched, I would definitely say that the first episode of JoJo's was more full and refreshing than any other first episode I saw. It gave you something like really complete, which is really nice to get sometimes in a story, you know. The first episode is like a story in itself, basically. So that's why I rate part 1 pretty highly. I thought it kind of like the next, I guess, part after that was pretty slow. And I think that part 1, I don't think it is that strong of a part. to be honest, and I don't think that when I get around to part 7 I'll rate it too highly, but I do think it was a good part though in its own way. And the final confrontation in part 1 was very, very worth everything you went through, and I believe there was only 12 episodes, maybe only 12 episodes before you get to pretty much the final confrontation with Dio and Joseph, where Joseph dies. So, spoiler alert, fuck it, but I'm not doing 2 takes, fuck that shit. Next, we are going to get into part 2. So, part 2, out of all the parts I've listed, obviously my fucking favorite. First reason why is because of fucking Joseph. Joseph is fucking insane, and he's probably one of the funniest characters I've ever seen in my life. I did not like him as much in part 3, obviously, and in part 4 is it even worth mentioning, but part 2 Joseph was fucking funny as shit. One of the funniest characters ever, so that's one of the reasons I rated him highly. He used to troll the shit out of everyone he fought when he was fighting the... Oh yeah, another reason I like part 2 so much, the fucking Pillar Men. Oh my fucking god. The Pillar Men were my shit. Those are 3 of the most badass villains I've ever seen in anything. And I'm just talking here about their badass factor. They're sinister, just badass, just amazing villains. And they fit way, way too perfectly with the style of the JoJo series. That's why I rate part 2 so highly. Cars, Wham, and AC/DC were insane. Caesar's Apelli was fucking insane. Caesar's death was insane. It was one of the best episodes I've seen. Just such a great fucking character. The Zappellis just as a whole. Goddamn. Let's talk about fucking Gyro Zappelli too. Or is it Gyro's? I don't know. Gyro Zappelli is probably from one of the future parts or some shit. I forgot what the first Zappelli's name was. Whatever the fuck his name was. His death too was fucking crazy. This series has a way of doing deaths in particular that is just really, really nice, and it really makes you, even if you haven't, known the character for that long, it makes you really sad they die just because of the effort they're putting in, with the last bit of their fucking life to like prolong or push forward the plot. It's just insane. So now let's go to part 3. So let's just get to the main things about part 3 and the reasons that I just really I just didn't enjoy it as much. First off, it was very fucking long. It was 24 episodes, so before that, part 1 and part 2 were both about, I believe, like 12 episodes each. So I really don't know why they made it so long. I guess it was just because, well, I know I didn't make it so long, obviously, but I feel like they could have made it a lot shorter. It dragged on, in my opinion, with all the villains, how a lot of them weren't even really good villains, but they would get their whole fucking 1 or 2 or 3 episodes, and you'd just be like, are you fucking joking me? Am I really watching the same the main characters fight this terrible villain? And I would kind of, when the episodes were coming on, some arcs I would be like really looking forward to the next week. But with a lot of them, I was just like, I don't even fucking want to watch this one the day it comes out. Like, just fuck off. The start of it was extremely strong, part 3. I'll give it that. At the start, when it started out, I thought, honestly, when it started out, I was really hyped. And I thought I would just love it absolutely and just keep watching like fucking religiously. But after a while, the style of it and just how it was dragging started to wear on me, and I just started just stalling with it. And eventually, it got to the point where I like stockpiled the last like 12 episodes or something. I hadn't watched it for a while, and I had to just binge it at some point because it really just wasn't doing it for me. But part 4, we're gonna move on to part 4 now. Actually, no. A few more things about part 3, right? Other than that, I thought the final confrontation in that was actually amazing. I would actually put that in what I can see, absolutely. And I'm actually very, very close myself to putting it above part 1 just because of the final confrontations, which were extremely great. Jotaro he wasn't the best character in my opinion, but he was at least a very, very cool character, you know, and a character that he was fucking smart, right? He felt a lot smarter than Joseph and Jonathan, right? So that was a really, really good redeeming factor for him. But part 4, moving on to part 4, before we wrap up here, I really fucking enjoyed part 4, right? I put it second, I believe, after part 2. That's just because it reminds me a lot, a fucking hell of a lot of part 2. In the sense that it's more focused on comedy than anything else. And the comedy in this one meshes so well with the story. I think that when it's done, it actually has the potential to get higher than part 2. Maybe. Just because Kira Yoshikage, excellent fucking villain. I could not ask for a better villain. The cast of characters is pretty great, honestly. It reminds me of like a traditional kind of like Yu Yu Hakusho-esque cast of characters in a way, you know? Because you have Josuke, which reminds me of Joseph like a motherfucker. This guy is fucking hilarious. Not as funny, not as troll, of course, but it's really fun to see how similar they are. So that's really nice. And yeah, he reminds me a lot of Yusuke Urameshi. So that is a great fucking factor. We have Okuyasu, which reminds me of Kuwabara. So it gives you a really, really traditional feel, and it's kind of a slice of life while at the same time like this hardcore fighting series. Like it just has this really, really nice charm to it. So I think that by the end of part 4, it could definitely be my favorite part. Anyways, those are my general thoughts so far on JoJo's. You know, haven't talked about it in a while, or pretty much at all on this channel, so fuck it. Thought I'd make this video. Tell me what kind of videos you guys want to see next in the comment section. Like, comment, subscribe as always, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.